You know, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you guys, it's becoming very reminiscent of what happened during She-Hulk when you have Echo over here talking basically about cameos. You know, like She-Hulk did the same exact thing. She-Hulk tried to drum up excitement for the show by mentioning how many cameos they were gonna have, how many different characters you were gonna see. Oh, Daredevil's gonna be in the show. You should watch this show for Daredevil. Now it seems like they're trying to do it again, but this time they're trying to do it with Echo, talking about all the cameos that are gonna be in the show because they know that nobody's going to want to see Echo just for Echo. Very few people even know of Echo's existence in a large scale. So you're going to need other people to draw people in. And I don't think they're going to be very successful because it didn't work last time and it damn sure is not going to work now. So let's get into this article, guys, from Bounding Into Comics. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. And please go subscribe to my manga channel. The links are in the description box below. I will love to see you there. So it says, in making what feels like a desperate ploy, which I agree with, to get viewers interested in the wildly unasked for Disney Plus solo outing, which is also true, Marvel's Echo director Sidney Freeland has teased that the series will feature a number of cameo appearances from across the franchise. Again, nobody's gonna want to watch Echo just for cameos, right? If you didn't have somebody who was interested in seeing Echo prior, I highly doubt they're gonna want to see Echo after whatever cameos you announce, you know? Daredevil has already been spoiled. I really feel like Disney spoiled that themselves. I feel like Disney put out that video themselves because that way they could try to drum up some interest. Oh, look at this big fight scene between Daredevil and Echo. It's going to happen in the first episode. Go check it out. You know what I mean? I really feel like Disney did that, but you know, I have no proof of that, of course. It says the former Grey's Anatomy, Fear the Walking Dead, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds offered this insight into her next project's extended cast during a January interview given to TV Insider in promotion of Echo's upcoming premiere, beginning her time with the outlet's Megan Darwish with a recollection of her own history in developing the Hawkeye spinoff. Freeland explained, when I first came on the project and in watching Hawkeye and reading the comics, the thing that was most interesting and fascinating to me about Maya Lopez is the fact that she was a villain. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not believe that she read the comics, okay? If she did, I would be highly shocked. And even if she did, she only read the Echo comics, you know what I mean? Like, she didn't read anything else, so it really doesn't matter. These people, when they're in interviews, they love to try to throw that in there and to pretend as if they're fans of the original work because they're told to do that. They're not fans of the original work, ladies and gentlemen. This woman can't give two shits about the original work. All she cares about is that she's a star in an upcoming Femme Girl Boss TV show, and that's all that matters to her. It says, in the conversations with Marvel, she continued, their response was like, hey, let's lean into that. Let's explore that. Let's see if we could push the envelope. Let's go down the rabbit hole and see where it goes. And that's really what we tried to do. Oh, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you went down plenty of rabbit holes in the filming of this terrible, terrible TV show. It says, further attempting to separate the Disney Plus series from the sea of other superhero projects audiences have chose from, Freeland then asserted, what's great about this is that we don't have to have these huge cosmic consequences. It's not the fate of the universe detailed the Drunk Town's finest director. It's a much more human story in its scope and scale, but at the same time, that's also meant that because she's involved in the criminal world, we wanted to lean into those aspects of her storyline. Now, this particular part right here, I have no problems with. I think it's pretty cool to tell a more grounded story, something that's not so universal, like the overarching MCU or like the Avengers or whatever. I think it's cool to tell those kind of stories, and I wish there would be more of those stories, but the problem is that I could almost guarantee you this story is going to be garbage. I could just tell based off what the writers are saying, based off what the directors are saying, based off what the actors are saying. I can tell you right now that Echo is going to be a trash fire. We already know that. We can already see that. And it's unfortunate because something like this could be very good. Something like this could be heavily sought after. Something like this should be happening more often. But the problem is it's written still by the same people who are doing the nonsense that's happening in the MCU. Just because it's a story that takes place out of the MCU, it's still being written by those same exact people that destroyed the MCU and turned it into the MCU. It's exactly what's happening here with Echo. So it says, following a brief discussion regarding the series' TVMA rating, the first such given to a Disney Marvel production proper, as all of the latter studio's previous Netflix television outings received this label, Freeland was eventually pressed by Darwish for information. Daredevil's recently confirmed Echo guest spot. I think it's pretty cool that it is TVMA rated. I wish they would do more of that, but unfortunately, they're really not going to do that, especially if it's going to be MCU canon. They're just going to keep it PG-13 at best, and they're never going to go to TVMA. The only reason they're going to TVMA is because, simply put, this is one of those Elseworld stories where it kind of takes place in the same universe, but it's really not supposed to be part of the MCU, so it's completely separate and they're allowed to do whatever the hell they want, essentially. And again, they constantly keep bringing up Daredevil because they think that Daredevil is going to somehow save Echo in the same fashion that Daredevil saved She-Hulk, which it didn't. She-Hulk bombed drastically, and I guarantee you Echo is going to be the least viewed show out of everything ever that ever came out in Disney Plus. I promise you, in terms of Marvel anyway. If you thought that Miss Marvel was the lowest viewed show ever, just wait until Echo releases and you're going to see exactly what it means to be the lowest viewed show ever. So it says, per a New Year's Eve preview of the Heroes cameo provided by the House of Mouse's UK branch, a portion of the Man Without Fear screen time in the series will see him engaging in an embarrassing, uncoordinated, and inconsistent hand-to-hand brawl with Echo herself. Unfortunately for her host, Freeland responded to her inquiry by keeping mum regarding the two heroes' eventual meetup. However, unwilling to leave Darwish and the public hanging on the topic, the director sidestepped the question by teasing, there are a number of cameos in our series, and fans of the MCU will see characters from other films and shows that they recognize. But at the same time, you don't have to have done your homework coming into this, she ultimately clarified. People who aren't familiar with the MCU can still come in and watch this show. As to the exact identities of Echo's guest stars, Freeland declined to provide any details regarding just which Marvel heroes would soon cross paths with the Native American heroine. Well, again, it really doesn't matter who ends up showing up in the show. I mean, Thanos can show up out of nowhere and nobody would bat an eye because nobody would be watching the show. That's the problem. You can mention all these cameos all you want. It's not going to bring people to Echo. And if it does, it's only going to bring them to that one episode and then they're going to walk away from it. I guarantee you, nobody's going to watch this show. Barely anybody's going to finish the entire series. Most of the people watching the show are probably going to be YouTubers reviewing it. And that's basically the economy right now when it comes to TV shows with Marvel. It says, however, given her franchise history and role as a street-level character, educated speculation reasons that she may receive a visit from such heroes as Hawkeye, either Clint or Kate, the Punisher, or possibly, in an admitted swing from left field, Moon Knight. Of course, in light of her actress' current existence as the only universally liked element of the MCU, and the studio scrambled to build a new set of core Avengers ahead of the team's fifth cinematic assembling, it's more than likely one such cameo slot will go to Miss Marvel herself. Yeah, they're really trying to push Miss Marvel as like the next big thing in the MCU, and it's weird because even though a lot of fans like her as Kamala Khan, it just is not that kind of character that can carry an entire franchise or an entire movie like an Avengers movie. I just don't think Miss Marvel has that staying power, and Miss Marvel definitely doesn't have the draw to bring people in like that. I mean, look at the Marvels. The Marvels is a clear example what happens when you put all those girl bosses in one movie and expect everybody to show up. Nobody showed up for it. Nobody wanted to watch it. Nobody wanted to go to the movies for it, and everybody's waiting for it to go on streaming. Otherwise, they don't really care to spend the money at the theater. So I don't think that Miss Marvel should be the one that they're banking on when it comes to the new Avengers, but eventually we're going to find out exactly who they're going to have as the lineup for Avengers, but I guarantee you it's going to be way more feminized than it was before, and definitely way more diverse. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.